Hello, good morning everyone. Myself Rehana working as a nursing tutor in Knowledge Institute of Nursing Anand. So today in child health nursing we will see about identification and care of high risk neonates. So first introduction. The period from birth to 28 days of life is called as neonatal period. So the neonatal period starts from birth of the baby and it ends at 28 days. So that period is called as neonatal period and the infant in this period is termed as neonate or newborn baby. So the baby who is in this period, that is from birth to 28 days. So to that babies we are calling it as neonate, or we can also call it as newborn baby. Then definition of high risk neonates. So high risk newborn can be defined as a newborn regardless of birth weight, size or gestational age who has a greater than average chance of morbidity, especially within the first 28 days of life. So high risk neonates are those neonates who is having a greater chances of getting morbidity. Morbidity means what? It is disease condition rate. So those babies who are having great chance of getting disease within this first 28 days of life, they are called as high risk neonates. Then classification of high risk neonates. So it is first according to the birth weight. So in this it includes first low birth weight LBW. So an infant whose birth weight is less than 2500 gram regardless of gestational age. Regardless means we are not taking into account the gestational age. So those babies whose birth weight is less than 2500 gram, they are called as low birth weight. Then if the birth weight is less than 1500 gram, then that babies are called as very low birth weight neonates. Then extremely low birth weight. So those babies whose birth weight is less than 1000 gram, they are called at extremely low birth weight babies. Then appropriate for gestational age. So an infant whose birth weight is falls between the 10th and 90 percentiles for the period of the gestational age. So we have to check it intrauterine growth chart. So in this we have to plot it and then we have to check the percentile. So if the percentile is between 10th and 90 percentile, then that babies are called at appropriate for gestational age. If the percentile falls below the 10th percentile for the period of the gestational age, so that babies are called as small for date or small for gestational age, SFD or small SGA. Then intrauterine growth retardation, IUG, are found in infants whose intrauterine growth is retarded. Okay, so this is intrauterine growth chart. So as per this gestational age, we have to look the percentile, and here on the left hand side you have to look the weight. So see, the normal percentile is 50. So on 42 weeks, example we are taking 42 weeks. So we have to look here the weight. So the weight should be 3.5, between 3.5 to 4 kg. But if it is less than 10 percentile, so here you look in 42 weeks in 10 percentile. So if the weight is between 3 gram to 3000 gram to 3500 grams, so it is low as per this gestational age. So likewise you have to look the look for the IUGR. Then next is symmetric IUGR and asymmetric IUGR. So in symmetric IUGR, growth restriction in which the weight, length and head circumference all are affected. And in asymmetric IUGR, there is growth restriction but the head circumference remains within normal limit. But only the birth weight falls below the 10 percentile for the period of the gestational age. Then large for gestational age. So an infant whose birth weight falls above the 90 percentile for the period of the gestational age. Then classification according to gestational age. So in that, premature, full term and post mature, preterm, full term and post term. So preterm means an infant born before completion of 37 weeks of gestation regardless of birth weight. Then full term, then infant who is born between 38 weeks to 42 weeks of gestation, they are called as full term in baby. And in post term, an infant who are born after 42 weeks of gestational age, they are called as post term infant. Then classification according to mortality, in that live birth, fetal death and neonatal death. So live birth, birth in which the neonate manifests any heartbeat, breathes or display voluntary movement regardless of gestational age. So we have to not consider the gestational age, but those babies whose heartbeat is present, breaths are normal and voluntary movement are dead, so dead babies we are calling it as live birth. And in fetal death, death of the fetus after 20 weeks of gestation and before delivery with absence of any signs of life after birth, that is fetal death. Then neonatal death means death that occurs in the first 28 days of life. In neonatal death, there is early neonatal death and late neonatal death. So the death that occurs within the first week of life, that is called as early neonatal death. And late neonatal death means the death that occurs at 7 to 28 days of life. Then we will see about preterm baby. So preterm means we have seen definition before also, that a baby who is born before 37 completed weeks of gestation irrespective of birth weight, they are called as preterm babies. Incidence is about 10 to 12% of Indian babies are born preterm as compared to 5 to 7% incidence in the West. So in India 10 to 12% of babies that are born are preterm. These infants are anatomically and functionally immature and therefore their neonatal mortality is high. So these neonates in this death rate is high because they are anatomically and functionally immature. Then causes of prematurity are spontaneous causes and induced causes. So in spontaneous, there is poor socioeconomic status, low maternal weight, chronic and acute systemic maternal illnesses, there, then antepartum hemorrhage, then cervical incompetence, maternal genital colonization and infection. Then if mother is doing cigarette smoking during pregnancy, threaten abortion. Then acute emotional stress, physical exertion, sexual activity, trauma, biconjugate uterus, then multiple pregnancy, congenital malformation. So these are all the spontaneous causes that can lead to preterm baby. Then induced causes. So in induced causes, the labor is often induced before term when there is impending danger to mother or fetal life in uterus. So when there is danger of to the mother and fetus life both, so at that time induced labor is done. So the reasons for inducing labor are maternal diabetes mellitus, then placental dysfunction as indicated by unsatisfactory fetal growth. So if there is no proper function of the placenta and the fetal growth is also unsatisfactory. Then eclampsia. Eclampsia means if the mother's blood pressure remains high. Then fetal hypoxia, antepartum hemorrhage, and severe rhesus isoimmunization. So these were all the causes of the preterm, that is spontaneous causes and induced causes. Now we will see clinical features. So first measurement. So their size is small with relatively large head. So the preterm babies, their size is small and but the head is large. Then the crown heel length is less than 47 centimeter. So the normal length is always 48 to 53 centimeter. But here in preterm babies, the length is less than 47 centimeter. Head circumference is less than 33 centimeter but exceeds the chest circumference by more than 3 centimeter. So here head circumference is greater than chest circumference, but still the head circumference of these preterm babies is less than 33 centimeter. Then activity and posture. So the general activity of this preterm baby is poor. Then the reflexes such as Moro reflex, sucking reflex, and swallowing reflex, they are also sluggish and incomplete. Sluggish means they are inactive or slow. Then the baby assumes an extended posture due to poor tone. So if the baby is strong and healthy, then we can see that there is flexion posture, flex posture. But this in preterm babies, due to poor muscle tone, the posture is extended. Then face and head. So disproportionately large head size. So the head is too large in this preterm baby. Then sutures are also widely separated and the fontanelles, that is anterior fontanelle and posterior fontanelles are large. Then the chin is small, eyes are protruding. You can see in the picture. The chin is small, then eyes are protruding due to shallow orbits and the buccal pad of fat, that is fat mass in the cheek is also absent. So this is about face and head. And optic nerve is often unmyelinated, but presence of papillary membrane makes it visualization difficult. So this preterm baby have difficulty in visualization because papillary membrane is present. Then ear cartilage is deficient or absent with poor recall. So in preterm baby, ear cartilage can be present, may be present also, or either it is absent. And if it is present, then there will be poor recoil. That means it doesn't come back to its normal position when pressure is applied and ear is full. Then hair appears woolly and fuzzy and individual hair fibers can be seen separately. Then next is skin and subcutaneous tissue. So skin is thin, gelatinous, shiny and excessively pink with abundant lanugo. Lanugo means hair distribution and very little vernix caseosa. That is white creamy substance that is present on the body after the birth of the baby is called as vernix caseosa. So this vernix caseosa is very little. Then one may can find edema. Then subcutaneous fat is deficient and breast nodule is small or absent. Then deep sole creases. So creases are present in the term baby, but here in preterm baby, these deep sole creases are often not present. Then genitals. So in male testes, testes are undescended and the scrotum is poorly developed. So this is the testis, it is undescended and the scrotum is poorly developed. Then in female infants, this labia majora are widely separated and this labia majora expose the labia minora also, and the clitoris is hypertrophied. Then we will see about physiological handicaps. So in central nervous system, there is immaturity of central nervous system. Because of this immaturity, one may can see inactivity, lethargy, poor cough reflex, and incoordinated sucking and swallowing reflex. Then resuscitation is difficult at birth and recurrent apneic attacks are seen in this preterm baby. Then retinopathy of prematurity means potentially it is blinding, the eye disorder. Then vulnerable for intraventricular and periventricular hemorrhage and leukomalacia. So these preterm babies have more risk of getting this periventricular hemorrhage and intraventricular hemorrhage. Then leukomalacia, in that there is decreased blood flow to brain tissue. Then inefficient blood-brain barrier. Then respiratory system. So there is cuboidal alveolar lining, poor alveolar diffusion of gases, hyaline membrane disease is present. Then breathing is mostly diaphragmatic, periodic, and associated with intercostal recession. So, hyaline membrane disease is infant respiratory distress syndrome. So, it is a breathing disorder in newborns that is caused by immature lungs. So, in this preterm babies, the lungs are immature that can lead to hyaline membrane disease. Then, pulmonary aspiration and atelectasis can be seen. Atelectasis is complete or partial collapse of a lung or a section of lung. Then, they are vulnerable to develop chronic pulmonary insufficiency. Then, next is cardiovascular system. So, the closure of ductus arteriosus is delayed. So, ductus arteriosus is present between the aorta and pulmonary artery, and it usually closes by 15 hours after the birth of a baby. But here in preterm babies, the closure of the ductus arteriosus is delayed. In grossly immature infants, that is less than 32 weeks, EKG shows left ventricular preponderance. Then these preterm babies have risk to develop thromboembolic complications and hypertension. Then gastrointestinal system. So due to poor and uncoordinated sucking and swallowing reflex. So we have seen that there is poor muscle tone because of this sucking reflex, and swallowing reflexes are poor. So animal fat is not tolerated as well as the vegetable fat. So these preterm babies can't digest this animal fat as well as the vegetable fat. Then regurgitation and aspiration are common. Then hypoglycemia, abdominal distension and functional intestinal obstruction. Then enterocolitis. Enterocolitis, it is inflammation of both the small intestine and the colon. Then immaturity of the glucuronil transferase system in the liver leads to hyperbilirubinemia. So glucuronil transferase, it is an enzyme that is present in the liver, but this in preterm babies this enzyme is immature. So because of this there will be increase in the bilirubin level. So as there is increase in this bilirubin level, so bilirubin level increases in the blood, and this leads to development of kernicterus. Kernicterus, it is a type of brain damage due to high levels of bilirubin in blood. Then thermoregulation. So as heat regulating mechanism is not very well developed in this preterm baby, so hypothermia is invariable. Then excessive heat loss can be seen due to relatively large surface area and due to paucity of brown fat in the baby who is equipped with the inefficient thermostat. So paucity of brown fat means what? So brown fat, it is present and it converts the food into heat. So as there is this brown fat is not mature, so because of this there will be more heat loss. Then infection. So infections are the important cause of neonatal mortality. The low levels of IgG antibodies and inefficient cellular immunity, excessive handling, humid and warm atmosphere, contaminated incubators and resuscitators expose them to infecting. organism. So these preterm babies are more prone to get infection, and the reason is that there are low levels of IgG antibodies. And another is that if we are handling these new preterm babies excessively, if there is humid and warm atmosphere, and if the incubators that in which we are keeping this preterm baby is contaminated, so because of all this, they are more prone to get infection. Then renal immaturity. So the blood uterine nitrogen is high due to low glomerular filtrate rate. Then the renal tubular ammonia mechanism is poorly developed. Thus acidosis occurs early. They are vulnerable to develop late metabolic acidosis. So metabolic acidosis means what? So it is imbalance in body's acid-base balance, reduced ability of the kidneys to excrete excess acid. So this because of this late metabolic acidosis, the preterm baby will be unable to excrete the acids from their body. Then concentration of urine is poor. Then toxicity of drugs. So poor hepatic detoxification and reduced renal clearance make a preterm baby vulnerable to toxic effects of drugs. So hepatic detoxification means what? So body continuously attempts to eliminate chemical toxins through enzymatic process in liver. So in liver there is enzymatic process is going on, and because of this enzymatic process the body can eliminate these chemical toxins. But as in this preterm babies, this hepatic detoxification is poor. So these preterm babies are more vulnerable to get the toxic effects of drugs. Then nutritional handicaps. So develop anemia around 6 to 8 weeks of age. Then deficiency of folic acid and vitamin A. Develop hemolytic anemia and thrombocytopenia means there is low platelet count. Then edema about 6 to 10 weeks of age. Then osteopenia and rickets. So osteopenia and rickets, it is bones disorder. In osteopenia the bones are weaker than normal and they can be break easily, and in rickets there is softening and weakening of bones due to deficiency of vitamin D. Then biochemical disturbance. So these babies are prone to develop hypoglycemia, hypocalcemia, hypoproteinemia, acidosis, and hypoxia. Now we will see the management of these preterm babies. So first is optimal management at birth. So give vitamin K injection 1 mg to prevent hemorrhage. So to prevent hemorrhage, we have to give vitamin K. That is 1 mg. Then we have to promptly try the preterm baby, and we have to keep warm with gentle handling. Then the code is to be clamped quickly to prevent hypervolemia and development of hyperbilirubinemia. Then next is we have to maintain body temperature. So for maintaining the body temperature, you have to keep the baby in radiant warmer and humidity should be maintained. Then positioning. So you have to change the baby's position from prone position. It relieves abdominal discomfort by passage of flatters and this prevent aspiration. And you have to change the position every 2 hourly. Then kangaroo mother care. So you have to encourage KMC and exclusive breastfeeding. Then oxygen therapy, so it should be administered only when indicated. So before administering oxygen, you have to check the SpO2. After checking SpO2, then only if the baby needs oxygen, then only you have to administer. Then O2 should administer with head box when O2 saturation falls below 85%. So when the SpO2 is below 85%, you have to administer O2 with head box. In picture, the box is called as head box. Then feeding and nutrition. So babies less than 1.2 kg gestation or less than 30 weeks and sick babies should start IV dextrose solution. Then 10 to 20 ml EBM means evidence-based medicine is given. 2 to 3 hourly to NG can be started to all babies irrespective of age and weight 2 hourly for less than 1 kg and 3 hourly for greater than 1.2 kg. Then nutritional supplements. So when the baby is stable and can tolerate eternal feeding, EBM fortified multivitamin and folic acid you have to give. Then iron supplementation is given, that is 2 to 3 mg per kg after 2 to 3 weeks, and calcium supplementation, that is 220 mg per day, and phosphorus 100 mg per day to prevent osteopenia for less than 1.5 kg. Then you have to give gentle rhythmic stimulation. So gentle tactile stimulation should be given by the mother, suiting auditory stimuli as family voice, music. Then mother has to maintain eye to eye contact. Then mother has to bring color objects near to the eye of the preterm baby for visual inputs. Then to prevent of nosocomial infection, strict handling, washing, Before and after touching the baby, you have to do strictly hand washing. Then minimal handling, because these babies are more prone to get infection. Then phototherapy. So early phototherapy is advised to keep the serum bilirubin level within safe limit to prevent need for exchange transfusion. Usually premature develops hyperbilirubinemia. Then factors to be avoided for preterm babies. So for preterm babies, what factors you will avoid? So you have to avoid routinely auto administration without monitoring. Then prophylaxis, antibiotics, formula feeding, rough handling, and excessive light and sound. These all things are avoided in preterm baby. Then prevention. So for prevention, firstly you have to identify the mothers who are at risk. So we have seen in induced causes like uterus placental dysfunction. Then if mother is having some chronic illness, so those mothers who are at risk, we have to identify them. Then we have to give prenatal education of the symptoms of prenatal labor. Then preterm labor. Then we have to tell the mothers that mothers should avoid heavy lifting of heavy objects. Then repetitive work. Then mothers should not stand for long periods of time, because all these things increase the risk of preterm labor. Then we have to already identify those mothers, and we have to give treatment of preterm labor. So this was all about the high risk infants, in which we have seen about the preterm. I hope that you all understood. Um, okay, so thank you.